Hey, this is Matt, co-founder and CTO of SpeedScale. In this video, I'm going to show you how to record the traffic going in and out of the Claude CLI. So if you're one of those people who likes to create code using AI agents, but you're curious what might be getting sent back to the model provider, we're going to go and dive into that. Now, as part of this demonstration, we are going to be using a free tool called Proximock, which you can learn how to install it yourself. Just type it into Google. And Proximock is a local recorder, runs on your local desktop, and it captures all the traffic going in and out of whatever process you pointed at. Now, in case you don't already know, the name of the tool we're going to be investigating is Claude Code, or the Claude CLI. You might also have heard your friends talk about it as Claude Sonnet or Haiku models. All that stuff basically means an AI coding agent that runs from the terminal. So that's what we're going to be investigating. Now, first thing that is helpful to know when you're recording or otherwise trying to figure out how something works is to go look at the source code. Now, Claude Code doesn't have terribly useful source code on their website or GitHub repository. It's more of, it's some stuff, but you can actually find deobfuscated, decompiled versions of Claude Code to figure out a little bit about how it works, at least, which I did, and I will save you from, but you can go check that out if you want to. The only thing I really need to know about this is that it uses web-based traffic and is written in Node. So that's what we're going to be looking at. So without further ado, let's switch to our terminal. First thing that we are going to do is pick a demo application. In this case, the demo application is from the SpeedScale demo repository on GitHub, which there'll be a link to that in the description. We're just going to use a generic Postgres application. It doesn't actually matter what it does because we're more focused on Claude than we are on what code we're modifying. First thing we're going to do is type Proximock record. Now this assumes that you have Proximock correctly installed. Proximock now stands ready to record all the traffic going in and out of the Claude application. All we've got to do now is take these environment variables, because that's going to tell Claude where to send proxy traffic. Fortunately, it honors that, and we'll get going. Now, I have figured out that we need to start Claude in a slightly different way than usual if we want to have it use a proxy server. And I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. I'm just going to switch into my demo directory again, and we're going to start Claude. Now, here's what's the same. Any app that you're recording through a proxy, usually they will honor the environment variables HTTP proxy and HTTPS proxy. What's different about node-based applications is that you have to tell it where to find the TLS certificate so that we can unwrap the private SSL keys, or SSL encrypted traffic. So I'm telling it where to find my special certificate that I'm doing that, and I'm going to start Claude now. Now what's happening in this other window is Proximock is recording all kinds of traffic going in and out. You can ignore these errors because this actually has to do with some of the plugins that I have. It doesn't matter, but it'll capture the traffic it's supposed to. Now here I can type in my normal prompts, and the tricky thing is that now I can see what traffic is going in and out. So let's take a quick look and see what it's done already. Okay, I can type the Proximock inspect command, which will just give me a terminal UI on top of everything being recorded. I can see here a few things that are already interesting. The first thing is that Anthropic has its own API calls going to this host. So that's as we would expect it. We'll dive into that more in just a second. Hey, this is future Matt. I'm going to interrupt old Matt because I have a quick correction to make. One thing about the Anthropic traffic is that it has lots and lots of these calls to statsig.anthropic.com. Now, having lots of telemetry calls is not unusual because it tells Anthropic what you're doing with their product, which is good, right? So they can know what's happening. What's kind of funny about this, though, is that the first thing is how many of these things there are, right? And the first thing is how many there are. The second thing is that includes clips of your chatbot history. Now, the reason why that's funny is Statsig is actually a company that was purchased by OpenAI. So obviously this is all above the board, it looks like. I mean, they're sending it to a local Anthropic receiver, a proxy. So everything's, security-wise, I'm not raising any issues. But it is kind of funny that Anthropic is sending telemetry information to one of their competitors. So that's kind of funny. Anyway, back to the normal programming. You can see your dashboard service, and you can see how they organize things. So, all right, that's great. I'm going to actually, instead of using this interface, I'm just going to open up a VS Code file explorer, and I'll be able to see all these files come in. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, let me show you what I mean by that. So I have this is my demo directory. I started Proximock in here, and it created a subdirectory called Proximock with my various recordings. Now the recording I'll take a look at here is, let's see, this is the This is the most recent one. And inside of that directory, all of my files are organized by the host name that they go to. And so we're only looking at outbound traffic right now. So these are all the calls going to these various servers. And I'm actually getting a markdown representation of each one of the requests. So what do I mean by that? Well, if I click into my Anthropic here, what I will get is all my request information and all my response information as seen off the wire protocol. So if you were able to record the network traffic and you could decode it into layer 7 and decode all the binary, this is what you get. So this tells us a little bit about what's going on. Every time a new call is made, a new file will come in here, and each markdown file is one request. So let's take a look through some of this stuff and see what we got here. All right, I think let's run a prompt and see what we can discover. So one prompt that I like to use on all of my code is this one. See, I know all of you write perfect code, so you don't need prompts like this. But I write kind of bad code, so I need prompts like this. So I'm gonna let it go run on that. Okay? Claude's gonna think about stuff. It's probably gonna ask me for various permissions, and most importantly, it's gonna make various tool calls, which will also show up. So let's go take a look here. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna copy part of this prompt here and see if I can find it in the network traffic. So I'm gonna do that. Let's open up that window again. Take a look at the Proximox stuff. You'll see new things are starting to appear here as calls are made. That's normal, all right, because Claude's doing work. Let's find out which message our prompt is in. So I'm using just this normal search functionality in my file browser. I'm using VS Code in this case, but you get the idea. And I can see the places where I've made this call. I'm going to do the most recent one here. Okay, here is the actual API call going out of the Claude CLI to Anthropic servers, telling us all about it. Now, don't worry about my API key because I've already rotated it by the time this video is posted. But it says, okay, we're using Claude Sonnet 4.5 and then a date. So from September 29th, I guess. Here's a context. Now, it looks like Claude's doing a little massaging of my prompt here. So, no, actually, that's the wrong one. Okay, so a couple things interesting here. First one is that I have a variety of instructions that go to my Claude, my Claude rules engine. You know, it's that rules file that you have in Claude. All that stuff is getting sent with each prompt, so that's eating up your context window. And it turns out I'm doing a lot of that, and that's not so great. So, you know, that's something I'm learning here. I'm getting task output, so it is organizing based upon the stuff that it's sending. And it's giving me a list of the various tools that it plans to use. Okay, cool. All right, we can keep digging around if we want to. That is not the purpose of this video, is to go through every single little permutation. However, I do think it's interesting to go and take a look at some of this telemetry data because there's just so much of it. They're sending so many of these requests. I mean, again, it's not a lot of volume. It's not a problem. It's just a lot of stuff. So let's see what's in here. So, okay, this is a call to statsig. Anthropic.com. Now, statsig is a telemetry company, meaning it's about user information. It's telling Claude how you're using the product, which is pretty normal thing to do. We get, let's see, Tengu, which is an internal name of one of their microservices, I think. A bunch of metadata. We've got a session ID that keeps recurring. Interesting. Oh, different session IDs. Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay. So we could go and we could follow the session ID through all the different traffic, and we could get kind of a patchwork of what the user did, right, by looking at these recordings, just FYI. We got time here, which is, I'm sure, the current time. And then the response, pretty much what you'd expect it to be. It worked. Great. That's enlightening. Okay. So that's your telemetry information. I don't see a lot in here that gives nothing that gives me pause. And then, yeah, NPM registry, GitHub, all the usual stuff. So anyway, we have a follow-on video using our paid product where we go into details about sequence diagrams and all kinds of analysis that's part of the paid product. But you can do all this for free. Just go to proximox.com or to speedscale.com, open the docs, and get going. Hopefully this is helpful. Thank you.